active player. He spoke about the decision to acknowledge his sexuality.
I really have the best life. I got the best family, friends, and job a guy could ask for. I'm a pretty private person, so I hope you guys know that I'm really not doing this for attention. I just think that representation and visibility are so important. I actually hope that one day videos like this and the whole coming out process are just not necessary. But until then, I'm going to do my best and do my part to cultivate a culture that's accepting, that's compassionate.
NHL Playoffs, Tampa 8-0 over the Islanders to go up 3-2 in the best of 7. Tonight, Montreal at Vegas, the series tied at 2. NBA West Finals, Game 2, Phoenix looking to go up 2-0 over the Clippers. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. That's the Sports Flash. Chuck Sanders, Western Reserve Radio.
O'Reilly. Ready for an oil change? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are here to help. We'll make sure you have all the supplies you need to make the job quick and easy. Right now, get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $28.95. Plus, get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sheila, we need to set up Johnson's quarterly review.
Janowski Investments keeps portfolios profitable, but a double client base calls for double the advisors.
Hello. Hi, Janet. I'm so sorry. Pulling up your portfolio right now. Give me a sec.
Indeed can help them hire the people they need.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
To the radio play-by-play voice and our buddy back from here at Youngstown, it is the voice Fitz. Everett Fitzhugh, my friend, how are you?
Man, it feels good to hear your voice again, Mark. Everything's going well, and definitely excited to be back on the airwaves briefly for here in Youngstown.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com. Mill Creek Golf Course is the Valley's leader for golfing fun with a practice range, short game area, and Hole 55 bar and grill all on site. Mill Creek Golf Course features a friendly PGA professional staff available for instruction, along with 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross. Don't forget family fun night golf on Fridays and Saturdays for just $25. For details and tee times, call 330-740-7112 or go online to millcreekmetroparks.org.
Welcome into By All Means here on Western Reserve Radio Season 2, Episode 22, presented by Mill Creek Golf Course. For more information, visit millcreekmetroparks.org to book your tee time today. Find the show on Facebook. Just search Western Reserve Radio. On Twitter, @WR_radio. Download the Live 365 or TuneIn app, or just head to westernreserveradio.com. Our guest for today is the head coach of the Warren John F. Kennedy baseball team, James Chimbati, who led the JFK Eagles to a 21-6 record in a Division IV state championship game. Coach, are you there?
Yes, Marc. How you doing?
I'm great, Coach. Thank you for jumping in to join us. Congratulations on winning a state championship in your first year there.
Thank you. It's been quite a few weeks here. Very exciting, humbling, a lot of emotions, but happy as can be.
What was it like to take over this program and take it to its first state championship in your very first season?
Well, Marc, I got the job about the end of July last year. And, you know, being a small school, I knew the numbers weren't going to be great. Plus, we had the non-season last year because of the COVID situation. So, you know, we took the kids that weren't playing in any fall sports in September. We kind of had like a little instructional session 2 or 3 times a week in September. It was mostly the freshmen, so we wanted to establish the way we do things, our culture, and so we started out there, and then obviously basketball started. We lost a lot of kids, and then we didn't get our full team back until like the second week of March, and we just continued to teach and instruct and teach the kids how we want things to be done at John F. Kennedy.
With only one senior and 4 lettermen, how did you build that way you want to play the game and build the way you want to have your team play the game so fast?
Well, it comes from instruction from our coaching staff, and obviously the players have to buy into it. And we just, we try to teach it from ground up. When you have a senior like Cam Hollabaugh that comes in the middle of March, that helps things tremendously. But we had some guys with some travel experience, and Caleb Hadley and Jaden Rischel, who played at a higher level. So a lot of this was not foreign to them.
Coach, when you look at your regular season, you played some really good teams like Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, Warren Harding, and Canfield, just to name a few. Do you think games against those type of teams and programs really helped you get ready for your deep tournament run to a state championship?
Yeah, there's absolutely no question, and that was probably the key. Another thing we wanted to do is schedule up. Us being not in a conference, we really everything was pointed to the state tournament at the middle of May when it started. So we just wanted to face the best pitching that we could. Unfortunately, a lot of these teams, they threw their number ones at us, and their number ones were pretty good. Kid from Rootstown, who's going to Ohio U. We had kids from Howland with their 2 top kids from Canfield, Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, as you mentioned. So, that helped us tremendously. And, when we said to ourselves, we're facing this. It's probably not going to get any better in our division.
When you look at the year, you played 27 games, and everybody knows how difficult it is to get games in at the high school level here in Northeastern Ohio, but also I had to help you be prepared to make that tournament run, getting a lot of games in during the regular season.
Yes, it was our athletic director, Al Gregos, deserves a lot of the credit because as any baseball coach in Northeast Ohio knows, it's kind of a lot of it's on the run. That schedule that they give you in February is never very accurate. Games are changing. So the weather dictating that, picking games up at the last minute. So it takes a cooperation across the board. But our athletic director did an outstanding job of helping us out to accomplish those goals. If somebody canceled, we were able to try to fill it, whether we had to travel or for the team to come to our place.
When you look at the tournament from the regionals to the state championship, you outscored the opposition 24-6. How was it you were able to be so balanced that you were able to put the runs up when you needed to, but you also got great pitching in a lot of key situations?
Well, early on, our pitching was our strength, and throughout the season, and we were struggling to score runs, and then we kind of got hot there. About 10 days before the tournament, we started to get key hits in games. And with us being a young team, it seemed like when one kid would get a key hit, that would relieve the pressure off everybody else. So our offense started to turn it around the last 10 days, and then you combined it with our pitching, which was consistently good from day one. That gave us a chance going forward.
What do you think it was, Coach, to the key to the just amazing athletic season the class of 2021 had this year at Warren John F. Kennedy? It seemed like they made deep runs to state championship games or brought home state championships across the board athletically this year.
Well, the first thing is the quality of kids that we have, the families they come from, the type of kids we have are outstanding. And obviously the other coaches on the football, basketball, and in all sports at Kennedy do a tremendous job. But the most important thing is the kind of kid and athlete, student athlete that we get at Kennedy. All the credit goes to them. They work hard. They stay on that even keel, I call it, and they just keep grinding no matter what the success is or failure. And obviously we took each sport and we worried about our baseball situation, but football, well, I guess one of the constants is Cam Hollabaugh. I mean, he had with all three of them. That kid, he's one of the best athletes I ever coached. He's just a winner, and it rubs off on his teammates, and that helps. But the type of kids that we have is the real reason why our school is doing what they are in athletics.
When you look across the board at a small school like Warren John F. Kennedy, and you mentioned somebody like Cam Hollabaugh that plays all of the major sports, and fans see the success of all those individual teams, but don't really get to experience all the hard work it is to pretty much be playing one sport after another for the entire calendar year.
Yes, the kids, we only had 11 on the roster, and all of them played multiple sports. A lot of them, at least half played football. At least half of them played basketball. So that was one of the obstacles we had to face because we didn't get, like I said, we didn't get our whole team until they were eliminated from the regional finals in basketball. And we had like five to six guys. So we were practicing the first 10 days of the baseball season with 5 guys. But yeah, a small school, I'm a big believer. I want kids to play multiple sports. I want them to play football. I want them to play basketball as much as they can, soccer, track. So obviously there has to be some give and take with the conditions.
When you go back and you look at this year, Coach, was there a moment, whether it was a practice or the ability to be able to practice indoors like we've seen with some of the interviews you and your players have done this year with the local TV, or a game, was there a turning point moment in your season that really propelled you to bringing home that state championship?
I kind of point to a game we played at Eastwood Field against Rootstown. They were undefeated, even though we really didn't know that all this going into the game. They threw their number one, a lefty. I don't know if he's a junior or senior. He was bringing it in the mid 80s, and we came out victorious on that end. And the way we pitched and scratched for runs, it kind of showed we can do this. And I would think that was that we can do something special, a wake-up call.
Finally, Coach, you mentioned it's kind of been a whirlwind since winning the state championship, and it came with its own challenges. The game in front of yours, and going extra innings, some rain that day at Canal Park. You mentioned, you had 11 players. You've got 10 of those young men coming back for next year. Have you just thought about the fact that you've got almost your entire team that won a state championship back for next year?
Yeah, well, we've thought about it, and we're losing a huge piece in Cam Hollabaugh. And the kids coming back, we're really going to emphasize that we have to get better, because I've been coaching for 30 years, and I've seen young kids that are young, but they don't progress through the game of baseball. And we got to make sure, we are all coming back, but we all have to get better. Each and every one of the 10, plus obviously the new kids that are the freshmen that are coming in. That's one thing we got to emphasize. Go back to work. Next year is a new year, and nobody cares. Come next, March 25th or whenever the season will start, what we did. We're going to have a bullseye on our back, and it's a brand new situation. So these 10 kids got to understand that and prepare for that. And again, as we emphasize during the season, stay in the moment, take one day at a time, take one practice at a time, take one game at a time, and let's see where we end up. And that's exactly what we did this year. And we were playing. I don't know if it was June 12th or 13th, whatever the final game was. We ended up playing. So that's the mindset we're going to have. But just because what we did this year doesn't guarantee us going forward. We need to put work in, and kids need to get better while playing in their summer leagues.
Coach, finally, a lot of this interview came back to a lot about what Cam Hollabaugh has done athletically in his career. I know it's difficult to replace a leader and a player like that, but how do you have some of your young men step up and fill that role that he was in as a leader for your squad?
Well, we have three juniors turning seniors that we're going to rely heavily on their leadership, and they also led to Alex DeSalvo, Mike Morrow, and Gavin Schrum. Those three are, again, quality kids and multi-sport. In fact, they all play football. So we're going to rely on them for their leadership. Obviously, Gavin did what he did in the final game. It's self-explanatory what he can provide. But like I said, each season is kind of a new page, and we've got to kind of shape it up the way we need to shape it up next year.
Coach, appreciate a couple minutes out of your time. I know your summer baseball schedule is very busy. Congratulations on bringing that first state championship in baseball to Warren J. F. Kennedy. And again, I appreciate just a couple minutes of your time today.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you for what you do for high school sports. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Have a great day. We appreciate your time.
You too.
That was Warren John F. Kennedy head baseball coach James Chimbati, who joined us on the phone, leading Warren John F. Kennedy to a 4-0 victory over Van Wert Lincoln View in the Division IV state championship game. The Eagles finished with an impressive 21-6 record. They will return 10 of 11 players for next year's squad, so they will definitely be someone to keep an eye on for the high school baseball season coming up in 2022 here around the Valley. And capping off, as Coach mentioned, was an unbelievably successful and fantastic athletic year for a small school like Warren John F. Kennedy. We had Coach Beck on last week, who had spent several years there at Warren John F. Kennedy, and to have Coach Cimbati join us, bringing the first state championship in baseball to the Warren John F. Kennedy Eagles. We definitely appreciate that from him. Just a few minutes away from taking our first break. When we come back, Dave and I will jump into what's trending. We'll recap a big win for the Cleveland Cobras you heard right here on Western Reserve Radio last week over the Lake Erie Explosion. We'll talk about the Indians and Pirates and their 3-game series from over the weekend. And we'll touch on a big national sporting event that is coming up in just 31 days. That we will talk about quite a bit here on this show as well. We'll even get into some highlights from last week's game. Our owner-operator, Jim Craven, was on the call of that game for the Cobras over the Lake Erie Explosion. We'll jump into all of that right after this.
Mill Creek Golf Course has been the Valley's leader for golfing fun since 1928. It features 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross and was voted a top 30 municipal facility by Golf Week in 2012. The Mill Creek Golf Shop is a certified Callaway Golf custom fitting center and it is stocked with your favorite golf apparel and accessories. Mill Creek Golf Course is now booking tee times for this year's golf season. Please call us at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio, the radio home of the Youngstown Phantoms, part of the Live 365 Network and SB Nation.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
Marc, you're 100% right. He does not get enough credit around the league. He gets, obviously, Coach Calhoun and the assistants and the rest of the players here at YSU know how valuable he is. He is right now their best player on the floor, hands down.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com. Mill Creek Golf Course is the Valley's leader for golfing fun with a practice range, short game area, and hole 55 bar and grill all on site. Mill Creek Golf Course features a friendly PGA professional staff available for instruction, along with 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross. Don't forget family fun night golf on Fridays and Saturdays for just $25. For details and tee times, call 330-740-7112 or go online to millcreekmetroparks.org.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio. WRDB, The Scourge.
Right back here on By All Means, Season 2, Episode 22, presented by Mill Creek Golf Course. Big thank you to Warren John F. Kennedy baseball head coach James Chimbati for joining us. It's now time for What's Trending. And, Dave, it seems like Jim's been back there the last couple of weeks. It's good to have you back there.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I had a couple of weeks, got some stuff going on at the house. I had to get that done. Still not done. Still in the construction phase, so I'll be glad when my project's finished, but it'll be a while.
Well, if it doesn't involve lifting anything heavy or any, menial labor like that, then I'm your guy. But if it does, call somebody else.
Yeah, I know. And this is all heavy lifting.
So going back to last weekend, on Saturday, you heard the Cobras pick up their first victory of the year, 29-14 over the Lake Erie Explosion. And the Explosion, of course, an expansion team in the Gridiron Developmental Football League. The Cobras not only picked up their first win, but scored their first points of the year. Both teams came into that matchup struggling on the year, having not scored an offensive point on the year. And a game where there were, multiple turnovers and a few defensive touchdowns. But the Cobras found a way to win that football game, and that's what you have to do in games like that.
Yeah, they found a way to win, although early in the first quarter, I was beginning to wonder if we were going to have a winner or if anybody was actually going to leave one side of the field. Because there was just so many – in the first half of the first quarter, there's so many turnovers. And it was stupid mistakes that just were they were avoidable. So I'm glad to see the Cobras did get their first win, but there's still a lot of issues for both of these teams that they have to get and have to figure out.
Of course, the Cobras will match up with the Explosion in the second half of the GDFL season after the 4th of July break. But again, our man Jim Craven was on the call of the game in this 29-14 victory over the Explosion. Let's look back at last week's Cobras victory.
Back to pass for Wallace. Throws it out to the right. Got an open receiver. Touchdown, Cobras. 15-yard touchdown pass. And for the first time this season, the Cobras get into the end zone on offense. Picked up by the Cobras at the 20, at the 10, at the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Cleveland. King Todd gets a touchdown. 50-yard touchdown for the Cleveland Cobras. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. Again, the ball's on the turf. Jaggers under all kinds of pressure, and he's going to be brought down by, looks like Robert Littlejohn. That's going to be a sack at the 21-yard line. So that might be a loss of close to 10. Handoff up the middle. Ball came loose. They're fighting for it. It's in the end zone. We'll see what the official will say, either safety or touchdown. We're not sure which. That's going to be a Cleveland touchdown. Fumble in the end zone. Quick pass out to the left to Calhoun, who's going to make out to the 10-5 and into this end zone touchdown. 23-yard touchdown pass. Eric Wallace to Emmett Calhoun.
Highlights from the Cobras' 29-14 win over the Lake Erie Explosion. And Dave, I had to mix in a defensive highlight in there because whenever you hear those highlight packages, it's always a lot of credit to the offensive players. But, Robert Littlejohn had a big game that included that sack you heard in our highlight package.
Oh, yeah, he had a sack. I believe he also had an interception. The defense actually did better than the offense did in this game. I mean, defense held strong when they needed to, but they also scored, too. They had an interception for a touchdown. I mean, one of their first points that they had was fumble recovery for a touchdown and got called back due to holding. But that was basically their first score of the game, but it was called back.
This week for the Cobras, they make the,
about
3.5, 4-hour drive, depending who's behind the wheel. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
To take on the Columbus Fire, who are 2-0 in the Gridiron Developmental Football League. But how about this number for the Fire? A new team for the Cobras that we haven't seen them play in the GDFL the last couple of years. In their 2 league games, they have outscored their opposition 73-0.
Yeah, the Columbus Fire, and I've watched some highlights on them on YouTube, and that they look strong. They look like a team that I would not be surprised in postseason if they're going up against Erie to go to the championship. I mean, this Columbus team looks stacked.
Yeah, they are definitely a very good football team. I mean, you just think about it. They haven't given up a point defensively, and you're looking at, 73 total points in 2 games. So they can light up the scoreboard offensively as well.
Right, and that's one thing that Cleveland's going to have to be ready for. They're going to have to be ready for this exploding offense, and the defense. They're going to
pun intended, by the way. There,
yes, pun intended. The and the defense. I mean, that defense, pun intended, is on fire. I mean, not giving up a point in 2 games is absolutely phenomenal. So I'd really like to see some scoring breakdowns to see exactly how they are scoring in these games, and Cleveland's got to be ready for it. If Cleveland even wants to have a chance in this game, they have to be ready for it. But they've got to fix their mistakes on offense. They've got to get their timing routes timed out better. They've got to get this transition between the center and the quarterback right. I mean, we're still making errors there. There's mental errors there, and I know it's the center because he's worried about what's going to happen as soon as that ball hits the quarterback's hands and he's rushing it, and you can't do it. You got it one step at a time. I understand that he doesn't want to get flattened, but hey, it's part of the game.
So here's something else I want to ask you. Of course, over the weekend, the Indians dropped 2 of 3 to the Pirates at PNC Park, and it seems like the last couple of years it's worked out that the Indians and Pirates have played in interleague play, but they are technically, not a annual interleague opponent like, of course, the Mets and Yankees play, Angels and Dodgers. Teams like that have their best that they can geographic matchups. For the Indians, it's the Reds. Right now, for the Pirates, it's the Tigers. And based on the sports rivalry that's already built in between Cleveland and Pittsburgh, is it a mistake to have it be the Indians and Reds, or do you like the Ohio Cup and want to keep it the way it is?
No, I actually thought when they started interleague play that we should play Pittsburgh every year, just because it's more of a fan rivalry than anything. I mean, baseball's a little different than football. I will just say those fans are a little bit more arrogant down there when it comes to football than they are for baseball. Oh. But I like the Cleveland Pittsburgh matchup, and any sport you can get it in because it's there. You have that rivalry. It's the cities are only 2 hours apart, 2.5 hours depending upon who's driving. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a better rivalry. I do like the Ohio Cup too, though. I like going against Cincinnati, and then it's like, okay, who owns Ohio for the baseball season? The same as football seasons, because you have Cincinnati, the Bengals, and the Browns that are in the same division. So you have that too. I mean, who owns Ohio after when football season starts? So yeah, I kind of like the local matchups. I'd love to see the Pirates and Indians play every year, though, because I've been to a couple of those games, and they are fun games. In fact, I have a Christmas ball, but it was a giveaway for a Pirates Indians game down in Pittsburgh one year, and I still have that. It goes on my tree every year.
Did I go to that? I thought I went. Did I go to that game with you? I think I did. I have that ball.
I do believe it was you, me, and a friend of ours. Yes, I think we did go.
Yeah, we have done a few of those games like that. I was hoping to be able to go this past weekend. They got all the games in because of the weather, and I just wasn't confident enough that they were going to get those games in to make the drive to PNC Park. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities to catch some baseball here in the near future. So to wrap up our What's Trending segment, we are 31 days away from the opening ceremonies for the Olympics. How much time, if any, will you spend following the events or watching some of the live broadcasts?
As soon as the opening ceremonies start, I will be watching. When the closing ceremonies stop, I will quit watching.
I read something, and I don't know if I have the exact number right, but I read something like, the Comcast NBC family that has the rights to the Olympics, between all of their different platforms, will have 7,000 hours of broadcast coverage of the Olympics. I don't think I'll be able to watch it all, but I'm sure going to try.
Right. And even you can watch it on NBC Sports. I think they're going to even show a lot of live things on Peacock on their streaming, and they're also going to stream the stuff afterwards. So if you miss something, I believe it's going to be available on Peacock for you to go back and watch too.
And the opening ceremonies will actually be broadcast live in the United States this year with the time difference. They will not be taped.
Right, which will be good too. So not only that, we've got some local talent that is going to be there. So it's going to be fun to watch and see how they doing at the Olympics this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Still waiting to find out just how many locals will be represented in the Olympics that are, about 31 days away. A lot of the Olympic trials currently ongoing. Whether the swimming trials just finished up, the track and field has a couple more days. Men's and women's gymnastics is this weekend. The women's basketball team just qualified for the Olympics. Their team was announced live yesterday. We're hearing a lot of rumors about which players are and aren't going to participate for the men's team. That has not been finalized yet at all. But Olympics are always a lot of fun, and been looking forward to that. Hopefully we can get through it with everybody doing what they need to test negative, do everything that they can to participate in all the events. There is very, very limited fan attendance at the venues after the announcement was made yesterday. I think it's 50% for the venues, or less than 10,000 or more at each venue, whichever comes first for those performances. We are just about due for another break here on By All Means, and when we come back, we'll jump into what's going to be almost a weekly segment on the show, talking to different high school football coaches in the Valley. And we will begin that with one of our favorites. We will talk to the head coach of the South Range Raiders, Dan Yeagley. That's coming up right here after this timeout. You're listening to By All Means on Western Reserve Radio. We'll be right back.
Mill Creek Golf Course is the Valley's leader for golfing fun, with a practice range, short game area, and hole 55 bar and grill all on site. Mill Creek Golf Course features a friendly PGA professional staff available for instruction, along with 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross. Don't forget family fun night golf on Fridays and Saturdays for just $25. For details and tee times, call 330-740-7112 or go online to millcreekmetroparks.org.
So, are you enjoying our station? Well, now you can take us along on your mobile device wherever you go.
Wow!
The free Live 365 app is available for both Apple and Android devices.
That sounds like fun. I'll give it a try.
Just go to the Apple app or Google Play Store and download it today. You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Western Reserve Radio is your home for Cleveland Cobras football action all summer long. Inside handoff to the tailback. Let's running room to the outside across the 20, 15, 10, and pushed out of bounds at the 5-yard line is Eddie Edwards. It is first and goal for the Cobras. Candaris is going to keep it. 10-5, touchdown Cobras. Great read by Candaris. Follow all of the hard-hitting action of GDFL football and the Cleveland Cobras right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Mill Creek Golf Course has been the Valley's leader for golfing fun since 1928. It features 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross and was voted a top 30 municipal facility by Golf Week in 2012. The Mill Creek Golf Shop is a certified Callaway Golf custom fitting center and it is stocked with your favorite golf apparel and accessories. Mill Creek Golf Course is now booking tee times for this year's golf season. Please call us at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Right back here on By All Means, presented by Mill Creek Golf Course on Western Reserve Radio. On the phone with us is the head coach of the South Range Gators, and Dan Yeagley. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for taking a couple minutes to join us. Coach, when you look back at this past year, everyone had to face a lot of challenges to get a season completed. What were some of the hurdles you felt like you had to overcome as a team?
Well, the first one was just getting back together as a team. I mean, we were off for 3-4 months, and then all of a sudden the state allowed us to get back together. And it was awesome seeing the kids come back together and bond. And, we had to bring them together as a team. That was the biggest part. But luckily we had great senior leadership, and the kids brought them together well. And, we got able to get rolling, and the state gave us a schedule, thank goodness. So we were able to play, and it was exciting, even though it was just league play because we like our non-leagues also. But it was a fantastic season.
One of the big topics of conversation this offseason has been the expanded playoffs that were put in place. What do you think about the fact that we thought it was going to be 12 and now it's 16 teams in each region?
Well, when you've been coaching as long as I have been, I remember when it was 4, and when we made it in, then it was really special. And then expanded to 8, so that was good. And I was happy with 8. Why try to fix something that isn't broke? But 12, I didn't care for the 12 because I didn't like the bye, but I really don't like the 16 because I think there's going to be some lopsided games, especially week 1 and even maybe week 2, especially since they have 1 playing 16 and 2 playing 15 and so forth. So I really don't care for it. And hats off to Mike Pavlinsky and Bob Spade for all the work they did to promote the Ohio High School Football Coaches Association and tell the state what we thought about it, even though it was talking to deaf ears. But it was still they tried their hearts out, tried really hard, and we just fell short. Well, 16, it is what it is, and we're going to go, and we're going to try to do as best as we can. It's going to help us out in the long run, especially with our schedules being as tough as it is. But, looking forward to getting the football season started and seeing what happens if the playoffs, everything works out.
You mentioned the first round bye for some of the top teams, and then, the opportunity to be at home for the second round. How difficult is that, for a group of young men to have a week off between games and then have the expectation of hosting and trying to win a home playoff game?
Well, with the 12-team schedule, that's the way it was going to be, and that is rough. I mean, the kids, especially us, I mean, I know our kids, and I know my staff and myself. I mean, we're very regimented. We're very this is how we're doing it. This is what we do every Monday. This is what we do every Tuesday, and so forth. And the kids know it, so there's no surprises and everything else. But, now that there's 16, it's going right into it. There is no time off, and which is actually better than having a week off, because a week off is hard, especially in today's day and age. You sit there and 2 weeks in between games, it's hard to simulate Friday nights, and it's hard to simulate normal weeks if that was the case. But, and it still may be, we get 16 teams in the playoffs. A couple of those teams may opt out and opt not to play, and so there still may be some bye weeks running around there. So it is tough. It's very tough.
You look at your graduating class from this past year, and some names, we definitely got familiar with guys like, Jake McGearing, Trey Pancake, that are going to go ahead and play at the college level for Ohio State on the baseball field. But you're getting used to graduating a lot of talented players. And now what do you look forward to returning for your squad for the fall?
Well, we didn't have a very big senior class, and we have a lot returning. We were actually young last year. And, we have a nice group coming back. You have Dylan Dominguez at running back, and, he's a returning starter. And there in 1,000-yard rusher last year. And, you got Jacob Brooks and Michael Lally and Logan Cormell, a couple of those offensive linemen that are coming back. And so we have a lot of returners, nice returning group offensively and defensively. But it depends on how they mesh together. I mean, they have to become a team. That's very important. We can return a lot of players back from the year before, just like a lot of in the NE8, we have a lot of returning starters coming back on every team because the whole league was young. But it's how they mesh together, and that's going to be an important part of the rest of this June and July, and bringing them together as a team and make them play as a team instead of individuals.
In the first half of the show, Coach, we had Coach Ciambatti on from Warren John F. Kennedy that won the state baseball championship just a few days ago. We talked about all the athletic success they've had there at Warren John F. Kennedy. The same can be said about South Range over the last couple of years. It seems like whatever team the Raiders put out on the athletic field has had a lot of success. What can you point to that has been a big key for that at pretty much every level athletically?
You got to. It's all about the kids. It really is. And I mean, we've been blessed with great talent in the football field, and the baseball field, the basketball teams, soccer teams, golf team, you name it. We've been blessed over and over with some great programs. Our wrestling team is phenomenal, and not just guy sports, but girls sports also. And a lot of it is, there's, luckily our superintendent and our AD and stuff supports the athletics, and our school board supports the athletics, and supports our programs and pushes us to a high level of expectation. And that turns into the kids, and that's what we expect out of them. We expect them to perform week in and week out at a high level, and we expect them to perform not only during the in-season but also the off-season to get better and become better athletes and to become better people, actually. So it's nice that we work with other sports, and all the other sports work with each other, and we work to maintain strength and speed and agility, and work on getting these kids to become better athletes.
And how nice is it from the football perspective to know you've got such an amazing facility there that was built with the new school? You look at the LED lights, the scoreboard, the turf field, the press box we love doing games from. You've got quite the home facility now.
We do, and it's still not done yet. We're still working on it. I think things were going along really good, and then we had the pandemic and slowed things down last year a little bit. Still looking to get our entranceway and our restrooms and concession stands done, but that's all coming. But it's a fantastic place. I mean, the whole school system, the gymnasiums, the football field, the baseball fields are all top notch. And, and that's the nice thing. We're playing in the bigger league. We're the small school in the big league, but our facilities match up to all of them. And it's just, like I said, South Range is a great place. It's a great place to be and a great place to coach. And these athletes are phenomenal, and they're so coachable and willing to do what you ask, and we know we can push them to the limit, and they perform very well.
You mentioned being the small school in the big league a couple of years ago as you were getting ready to make the transition to the NE8. We talked about being the small school in the big league. Now that you've had some time in that conference, how do you feel you stack up, and how do you feel about being part of that league?
I love being part of the league. I mean, the league is filled with great talent, a lot of great players. It's fun to watch them on film, and a lot of great coaches. I mean, it's nice being surrounded by, like I said, great programs, and it's just and being part of that. Last year we ended up winning the league, which was a great accomplishment for us, and the year before we ended up second. It's when we knew we were going into the transition, and when we talked last time, being independent for 2 years and scheduling up and scheduling some big programs and some big schools and some really good programs really helped us prepare and helped the mindset of the kids to be prepared week in and week out to play this kind of schedule. And it's still a meat grinder. I mean, you got to come ready to play every single week. And, you got to give it your very best. If not, you're going to get beat, because all these teams can beat anybody any given night. And like I said, especially with the coaches that are in the league, such great coaches and such great programs, that you got to bring your A game every single week.
finally, how excited are you? Hopefully everything is back to normal for the fall. You're able to play some of those non-league contests against teams and rivals that you've played in the past. How excited are you to get back to some of those games?
Oh, I'm really excited. I'm week one, Springfield, you can't beat that. I mean, what Sean's done over there and what a great program he has, and what a great, last couple of years, what a couple of great runs that he's made, and looking forward to playing them. We have to travel there, which is a tough one. Normally we play Crestview week 2, but they end up dropping us, and so we're not going to play them this year. Hopefully we get to see them in the playoffs, but we had picked up University School out of Cleveland, and then week 3 we got Canton Central Catholic. So we got 3 tough non-league games filled with some great programs and some great coaches. So looking forward to it, and then we start league play. So I'm really looking forward to a normal year this year. Getting back into the swing of things, and so far the kids have done a great job preparing and getting ready for this season, and they're excited too, and they can't wait.
One last question, Coach. I know you have a relationship with a lot of the coaches in the Valley. How excited were you to see Coach Bayek and Coach Annarella posthumously be inducted into the Ohio High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame a couple weeks back?
I mean, what an honor to have 2 coaches from our area in, and Coach Bayek, I've known him for a long time, and my goodness, what a great coach and a great man, and what he's done, wherever he's been, has been phenomenal, and so happy to see him get inducted. And Coach Annarella, I mean, he was a great mentor, helped me out a lot in some little things that I needed here and there, and always had some words of wisdom for me, and was always like I said, a great mentor, and to not just myself, but my staff. I have a couple Austintown Fitch coaches on my staff, and and you could see him coming out in them, and what a great coach that he was, preparing not only his players but his coaches to make his programs better. So I was very excited for both of them, and very well deserved. And it's such an honor to have, like I said, 2 from the Northeastern Ohio, from the Mahoning Valley, into that program.
Coach, we appreciate it as always. You've always been great with working with us in the media. Best of luck this fall, and I'm sure we'll catch up real soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, so much, and thank you so much for supporting the Raiders, and looking forward to talking to you in the fall.
That was South Range head coach Dan Yeagley joining us on the phone here on By All Means. You heard Coach mention it. It's a tough one for them in week 1 when they travel to New Middletown to take on Springfield before 2 more non-conference opponents, and then jumping into the NE8. So we thank him, and I look forward to talking to several other area coaches in our 3rd segment of the show for the next few weeks leading up to the beginning of the high school football season in mid-August. Don't forget, it is a little bit earlier this year with the expanded playoffs, so not the middle to later August, but it will be a little bit of an earlier start to the season across the state of Ohio with the expanded playoffs now to the 16 teams that Coach Yeagley and I talked about. Also want to mention, while we have a chance, we announced it on social media, we're going to take By All Means on the road. We will be at Mill Creek Metro Parks for our live show with Director of Golf and Recreation, Brian Tonar. That will be between 5 and 6 o'clock coming up on August 10th. And, of course, if you have time, the AJGA Junior Golf Tournament going on at Mill Creek this week. Make sure to head up and check out 2 tournaments going on up at the north and south courses of Mill Creek Park. Go out and check out some of the future PGA and LPGA pros playing at the AJGA tournament at Mill Creek. We'll take our final break. We will come back here on By All Means. We'll wrap up today's show and look ahead to what's on tap for next week, right here on By All Means on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserve.com.
Mill Creek Golf Course has been the Valley's leader for golfing fun since 1928. It features 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross and was voted a top 30 municipal facility by Golf Week in 2012. The Mill Creek Golf Shop is a certified Callaway Golf custom fitting center and it is stocked with your favorite golf apparel and accessories. Mill Creek Golf Course is now booking tee times for this year's golf season. Please call us at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Mill Creek Golf Course is the Valley's leader for golfing fun with a practice range, short game area, and hole 55 bar and grill all on site. Mill Creek Golf Course features a friendly PGA professional staff available for instruction, along with 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross. Don't forget family fun night golf on Fridays and Saturdays for just $25. For details and tee times, call 330-740-7112 or go online to millcreekmetroparks.org.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Mill Creek Golf Course is now open. Experience the Donald Ross Championship design of both courses, where you can book a tee time online at millcreekmetroparks.org. Mill Creek features a newly remodeled golf shop, new cart paths, and is a Callaway certified club fitting facility with demo days. The PGA professional staff is now accepting golf outings and leads. For more information, call 330-740-7112 or stop by and see what all Mill Creek Golf Course has to offer you.
The year was 1907. The Cubs won the World Series and the Ford Model R hit the assembly line. While here in Ohio, school administrators came together to form the Ohio High School Athletic Association. One thing that hasn't changed since 1907 is the dedication of the OHSAA to education-based athletics in Ohio. School sports teach responsibility, sportsmanship, and life lessons that stay with students long after their playing days are over. The OHSAA seeks to prepare students not for the next level of sport, but for the next level of life.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
It's time to put a wraps on this week's episode of By All Means here on Western Reserve Radio, Season 2, Episode 22. Thank you to Warren John F. Kennedy head baseball coach James Chimbati, who led the Eagles to their first ever state championship in baseball, a 4-0 win over Van Wert Lincoln View. And you just heard from the South Range Raider head coach Dan Yeagley, defending NE8 champs, and looking forward to talking to him as we get closer to the beginning of the high school football season in August. Don't forget, coming up on next week's show, we are scheduled to be joined by Brian Snow. Snowman in the Morning joins us. You can hear his show over on Western Reserve Radio 2, Monday through Friday mornings on Western Reserve Radio 2. This show is available in podcast form. Just search for By All Means on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and many of your favorite places to listen to podcasts. Or just follow me on social media at Marc_Means. That's at MARC_MEANS. A big thank you to our executive producer and my co-host Dave Ferris back at our Western Reserve Radio studios in Struthers. You also heard from our owner-operator Jim Craven on the Cleveland Cobras highlights after their big victory last week that you heard here on Western Reserve Radio. That is going to do it for today's show. We will talk to you next Tuesday from 5 until 6 o'clock right here on Western Reserve Radio. means host of By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on Western Reserve Radio. Expansion of the college football playoff took another big step last week as the full group of commissioners who managed the postseason system wrapped up several days of digging into a plan for a 12-team format that would revamp the national championship. The expansion would be from 4 teams to 12 teams. The first big debate, the Pac-12 is pushing for each Power 5 conference to receive an automatic berth. No timeline has been announced. The earliest expansion would be possible is 2023. NHL Playoffs last night, Tampa 8-0 winners over the Islanders to go up 3-2 in the best of 7. Steven Stamkos, Alex Killorn each with 2 goals, 21 saves for Andrei Vasilevsky. Tonight, Montreal at Vegas, Game 5, the series tied at 2 apiece. NBA West Final, Suns hosting the Clippers tonight, Phoenix with a 1-0 series lead. The East Final gets underway tomorrow with the Hawks at Milwaukee. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's